Hey, welcome back to Tim Talks. We're going to go over, again, in our series of what to do on the first day of work. We're talking about part two of what do you do if you are virtually working from home or on conference. And we talked a little bit about that already with part one. Now we're going to go into part two of what you can do to help make sure that it's the best for your first time when you're doing these meetings and you're working virtually from home. So let's say you're online and you're with the meeting. The last thing we were talking about was in a conference call with other people, other individuals. If you're going to share your screen, make sure that you don't have things up that you don't want other people to see. Close those things, eliminate those. You don't want anybody to see anything inappropriate for what you're about to talk. Just the things you're going to talk about if you're going to share your screen. You could have many things up. You could have chats. They can read your chats if you're sharing, because you're sharing whatever's on your screen. So those apps and those things that are up, you want to make sure you just minimize them, get rid of them. Don't have them up, just the material you need for the conference call. So if you're not in charge of the meeting, maybe you're just one of the individuals there, you really have to pay attention and focus on the call. And what happens is sometimes we get distracted, we hear other things, we have our other screens open, or we could be just not really paying attention. But you're there for that meeting and that information that's coming across, so you really want to focus and pay attention on what they're trying to help you with. And it doesn't matter if you say, hey, I'm good at multitasking. You want to just kind of, how long is it going to be? Half hour, 45 minutes, maybe an hour. You can focus for that amount of time and you can get the information that is needed. Now we're going to talk about some don'ts that you shouldn't do while you're on a video conference. And sometimes what happens is maybe you have your chats up on your screen and you're chatting with some of your friends. You don't want to constantly be clicking on that keyboard. Of course, as we talked about earlier in the last video, you should have your mic muted. But if you're constantly, typing and doing things like that, it's very distracting, and you don't want to do that. Now, let's say that you want to take notes, and so you think it's okay to just to type on your keyboard. Well, it's one of the biggest no-nos because people can hear that. Even if let's say you're talking and you're still typing, they can hear that, and it's a very big distraction. So if you want to take notes, physically write them down. Get a notebook and write them down. That's going to help you a lot better. So the key takeaway is that you want to make sure that you're not distracted, that you're part of the meeting, you're there for a business meeting. If you're typing, that's going to be disrespectful or could be taken as being disrespectful. So that's really important to stay away from that, regardless of what's going on in the background. Another one of the don'ts is if you're running late and you join late, you don't have to introduce yourself to everybody. Hey, I'm here, this is Tim. If they're in the meeting, don't do that because they've already started the meeting. You just join and you just sit back quietly. You don't have to do that. Another don't that's important is don't eat during the meeting. So even if your mic is muted and you're eating, people can see what you're doing. So it's not good to do that. Even, chewing during a meeting is inappropriate. So don't be chewing gum either. So those are some things to stay away from. Another don't is don't dress inappropriately. You have to dress appropriately for the meeting. Like we talked about earlier, pajamas isn't going to work. If you have a t-shirt that says, rock and roll slogan on it or whatever, that's not appropriate for meetings. And so, especially if you're trying to be professional, make sure that there's no offensive words on your shirts or anything like that. That always keeps things professional when you're in a meeting. So another don't is to don't speak over another speaker. You want to make sure that you have the etiquette followed. The etiquette of the meeting is very important. Everyone will have a turn to talk. You do not need to speak over another one. So those are some of the rules you should follow. It's being kind and considerate and courteous. That's just part of what it is. Another don't is not to have too much background noise. So if you turn your mic on and you're talking, you want to make sure the dog's not barking. You want to make sure that the kids are quiet in the other room, or at least you're in an area that you can't hear them. Make sure you shut your door so that the noise is minimized. So in reality, in conclusion, we have to think about having a positive attitude. And have a positive attitude as much as you can all the time. Smile, look like you're ready to engage, be courteous. All of those things play into the online meeting that you're having. And if you're working remotely, you want to make sure that they keep thinking of you as an asset that is working remotely. And all of these tips that we just went over are great to help you to do that. And especially if it's your first time working online, follow some of those tips and it's really going to be helpful. Positive attitude is going to get you further than anything else. So congratulations on putting your best foot forward and getting the job that you were looking for, because I know you guys are going to get it. I know you guys can handle it. So always think about how you do that research and how it's essential in getting the job that is right for you. Appreciate you guys being here, and I hope your new career goes great. Thank you for tuning in to Tim Talks. Check out all the links below. Check out Photos 101. Those guys are awesome. And also check out the other links. They're great. Tim Talks. Have a great day.